What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. So today, what we're gonna do is cover my top 4 picks for Salt Lake City. I've tested a good amount of them. I've been testing over the weekend, helping players get ready for Salt Lake City and trying to think of decks I think were good and having fun this weekend. So yeah, we're gonna go over those decks, and so there's only 4 decks. There's a million different decks you can play out there. There's some like noticeable like fifth, like I want to say like Wheezing is still good, but I can't get it to be Arceus unfortunately. So that's like the one reason why you don't have it. I don't have it in here. Gengar is another good choice. That's like probably like 6th place. But I couldn't like get it like consistently set up and stuff like that. So we're not playing Gengar anymore. Single Strike, I'd rather play Gengar over Single Strike. Trying to think what else they are. There's like a ton of different Arceus decks. I'm not a big fan of the Toolbox variant, and it just seems like really clunky to me, and I couldn't get it set up. There's also like Arceus Duraludon, but I think like everybody knows that. I think that's I think everybody knows how to beat that deck now. So in number 4th place is probably like my least tested deck, but this would be the deck I would go pretty close to with, and then that's Arceus and Inteleon. If you listen to the question and answer, we talk about this deck some and what we think about. So I think this is probably the best version of Arceus right now. There was an Arceus Duraludon that still did well in Australia, so that does kind of throw it in the loop. But I mean, this deck just seems really, really good. Playing like Chance Care to pick up like a super damaged like Arceus is really good. I mean, you're essentially doing like 200 every single turn, which is really nice. I do love that a lot. You have all of HP with the big charm, you get 310. You're 310 doing 200 damage. That gives up 2 prize cards, which is really good. You have the Star Breath ability, like super consistency with the Drizzle and Inteleon. Farfetch is a cool like basic attacker. Like it does 20 plus 10 for each damage counter on your opponent's back to Pokemon. So if you smack somebody with like a Trinity Node for 200, and then you can sneak a double Turbo Energy, you can Leak Lash them for a knockout, which is pretty cool because then they still knock out like another Arceus or something. Or you can use it as a late game attacker. You can do like Arceus, like knockout Arceus into Farfetch for knockout, which is pretty cool. Because Chance Care, you do pick up all the cards attached to it, which is really nice. Dunsparce is okay. Like, I think like the decks that play fighting will just beat Dunsparce, I think. Now, I think this will help against like the Zapdos variant, but you'll see what fighting deck I'm talking about later, which I think just like doesn't care about Dunsparce. So that's kind of the tricky thing. My testing's totally different because like I have decks that I think beat the metagame or beat the meta right now. So that's just keep that in mind too. So like in my head, like Dunsparce doesn't really help us much, but it definitely does help against like Zapdos V, which I think would be really, really big going against Salt Lake City. It's just a really good attacker that can one-shot Arceus. Outside of that, we're playing the split 3 Evolutionist 3 Oak Ball, just like keep it really consistent here. There have been lists that play like Bucket, and Bucket is good because you can like search for water energies, but I could do like I can never get like the Water Energy Melanie playing, which is why I opted not to play Bucket in here. So we cut the Bucket just to make it more consistent. The 2 Nats do help you pick up like Inteleons, but you want to get really quick into like the quick shootings. Like as soon as you get quick shooting and like what you could do is like Trinity Nova, quick shooting some bench or something like that, and like maybe have enough to take a one shot or something and all that. Like because you gotta remember you're trying to knock out opponents like Arceus, right? You want to be able to like one-shot them. So if you can like ping like 3-4 times into the Arceus in this swing and like make them waste like a Sharon's Care on the active and like give the bench one, it's like a weird like war. And the Inteleons do help you win. So as soon as you get the Inteleons up to start pinging opposing Arceus and making them wait their Sharon's Care first, it is really, really nice. Peak is good to help with Mew. Like I said, like Big Charm on an Arceus, like they need like so much to knock it out, which it is still very possible. I was struggling against that matchup some still, so that's why I'm like not like super hyped up with this. But Boss Order, because you're not like one-shotting anything because you're doing 200. But like I said, Farfetch does help pick up that. Marty for Disruption, Melanie, you can attach a Water G to one of your V, draw 3. So you get double turbo water energy pretty much in one turn. Also, like, don't forget about like Trinity Charge and Power Edge, because Trinity Charge can get 3 basic energy to your deck. And you don't have to get the basic energies. You can keep them in your deck too. Like, if you're like, okay, I don't need anything, then don't get them. One card you can maybe include in here is Raihan. It seems pretty cool. Now this is like a pretty close like vanilla list everybody's like playing right now. It could be like a totally better build of like RC's Inteleon that we don't know about that could come out of Salt Lake City. But just taking what the results are, this is kind of like where I'm at right now with the RC's Inteleon. So there's the list. Test this out. I mean, you got 2 days to the tournament, so like hopefully you have a bigger idea. But this is just like what I'm thinking about going to if I was going to Salt Lake City. So let's go into what I think is number 3 on my list, and that's gonna be Entei. I have like really high hopes for Entei, and like I still like I'm telling people like Entei is like an underrated deck that doesn't like get a lot of love right now, because like Entei, like Burning Rondo just does so much damage. You have 230 HP with a Keep of Toughness, you do 50 more, so you get 280, which is really fantastic. And then you have like Charizard VMAX, which the cool thing about like Salt Lake City is you're not playing online, so your opponents can't see your list. So Star Blaze can like one shot pretty much all the VMAXs, pretty much all the VMAXs. Don't get me wrong, it can, right? But if you can get like a Star Blaze turn off into Explosive Fire, you're really good shape. And like I said, I only play 1/1 because like it's kind of like whatever. But like Entei has like the potential to like turn 1 a ton of damage. And against like Mew Genesect, you just like boss up their Genesects and then just take knockouts. The barrel is going to have the industrial sizes, just draw you 5 cards in your hand every single time, which is really good. So I like that a lot. I like this deck a lot. This is very different than the one I post on the YouTube channel, because like I play the Heat Energies and other stuff as well. Now, you can probably get the Charizard VMAX if you want to. I know some people playing like Moltres, and you can maybe opt to play Moltres. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. You can also cut like maybe the horns if you want to only play 2. The energy switches are pretty cute, because like at any moment, if you have like 1 energy in the field, you can power up a Charizard out of nowhere. So like the math goes like, if you just the way it goes, if you have just 1 energy in the field, all of a sudden you can like energy switch to Charizard, attach Stadium, Raihan, get the VMAX, go for a Starblaze 320, and then like next turn you can Explosive Fire them. And this guy is like taking like 2 prize cards now, and then you have like this Entei deck to follow up and like start taking knockouts too. So that's a really cool play. Sometimes I want to cut this for charms. So like Charizard V-Star has like 310 HP, but I don't know if it's worth it. The problem now with the deck, if it's telling on RCS sees more and more play, then it becomes harder. Because they can Sharon's Care, so that's scary. Now they don't one-shot you, which is very nice. And even against the Mew matchup, like they need a lot to one-shot you, right? Because like Genesect does like 210, like Meloetta needs like a bunch of Fusion Strike energy, so that's something to keep in mind. You also play like 4 Marnie to disrupt the Mew player, so that's really cool. Boss Order, like you play the 2 Rope and the 4 Boss Order, so you just like knock out Genesects over and over again. I think that's a really good play. Like I said, I think this is probably like my 3rd place deck. Like I would play, I think I'd play this over RCS and Inteleon, just because like personally I haven't played it as much, and I think it is a sleeper deck that people just wouldn't like know what to do sometimes. Like do I go to the B barrels? Do I go to the Inteis? Like I don't know. What do you do? And also you have the potential attack turn 1, which I know seems very unlikely, but you can, like, right? You just need the Magma Basin and an energy and the attach, and then you got a knockout. So that's pretty cool. One card you can maybe put in here is like if you got the Charizard, like if you want to. I don't really like that. I like the idea of like having a Starblaze out of nowhere. But you could play like 1 Crobat, 1 Moltres. I know some people, like I said, is they play Moltres and stuff. I don't know. Because like if you give a Moltres knockout, then like B-Barrel like becomes like an easy knockout later on. And I really don't like that a lot. I guess the best thing is like it's good against like Mew Meloetta, but like if you're not knocking out a Genesect, you're in trouble. Charizard does have the potential to one-shot a Mew, so you can like potentially go like knock out Meloetta with the Moltres, Charizard V-Star, Mew, and then like Entei a Genesect or something. But that's still like really hard to do. I'd rather just like chain like Burning Rondos into Genesects and like Echoing Horn them back out, which is pretty cool. And it gets like other decks too, like I don't know, like any deck that plays like Lumineon on a Crobat, yep, you have double Echoing Horn. So as soon as they like drop one Crobat or one Lumineon, you're in pretty good shape to like one shot them. Because you're gonna have 5 bench, which is like 120 right there, and then like you only need 170, so that's like 4, which is not too hard to do in this format. Like most Pokemon have like 3 bench, and then you horn the other, and you have a knockout. So that's pretty cool. I like this deck a lot. I think it's underrated, and will people play it? Probably not. But personally, for me, it's number 3 spot, like 100%. Like I definitely would consider it. But number 2 might surprise people, but it's Mew. Now this is a list I won. This is not a list. I played this the other day, just testing against my friend, and oh my goodness, it is so good. Like just 3 DTE, 4 Fusion Strike. You're just like take a knockout constantly. You play the 2 switch. The 2 Escape Rope is really good, and the reason why Escape Rope is really good in this deck, if you haven't figured this out, is like let's say like turn 1, your opponent like doesn't bench like a second Meloetta or something, right? They have one Meloetta and they send it to the X spot against a mirror. Well, you get to Escape Rope to Mew and it's like take a knock on it, like or Genesect turn 1, and that's like really good because then like you're just like pinging Mews and Genesect later on, or Choreos help you in the matchup, so they can one shot you and stuff like that. It does like do -20. I'm pretty sure that's why it's in there. I'm like not 100% positive. The scary thing about this deck is it does only play 2 Rose Tower, so if you're not confident playing like more, like not playing the stadium more correctly, then like maybe you cut the Rose Tower. The big thing about the Rose Tower, I will tell you this, is like be very mindful of when to play this. There's a lot of opportunities that you can just like drop it to fill your hand up with like more Genesect, but you're like, okay, I don't know what stadium cards they're playing now. Like, is it really beneficial like drawing one more card? That's what you have to ask yourself. Now, if you don't feel safe enough, you could probably cut something for a 3rd Rose Tower or something. I know Trinity Ship like cut a 3rd Mew. Cut a Mew for a stadium. I think it was Old Cemetery. But that's yeah, I think it's fine. I think there might be other stadium cards I would play instead. But I don't know. Also, Rotom Phone is like really good. Like, because like I said, with like Rose Tower, you're like, okay, do I whatever? But with the Rotom Phone, you can just like manipulate the top cards of your deck. So that's really good. I mean, Mew is like the best deck going in Salt Lake City. It is the best deck. Like, if you don't feel comfortable with my number 1 choice, then I would definitely say just play Mew. Like, it's really good. The one horn, like, auto wins you, like, the Duraludon matchup now. It's, like, really good because, like, turn 1, they put a Duraludon down. You're like, that's cute. I boss it for knockout. Then they go Arceus, and you go, cool, knock out Arceus, and then you can horn back the Arceus back out, or horn back the Duraludon or something, and then you're in really good shape. I mean, the deck is so fast that you're gonna like just beat Duraludon like pretty easily. So that's why I'm thinking like the deck's not a thing anymore, because Mew decks are playing horn to beat that. And then also like Melodious Echo is like so strong, and then the choice spell is like 30 more damage now. So like you're guaranteed like what base 240 with this, and even with the -20, like you're doing 220 now. So that's really good. 4+ powers, you're doing like an extra 120 damage. So yeah, you're going places. And then like Melodious Echo is so strong. Like 4 in the field, 280 plus a choice spell, 310. Like that's so good. The deck's really good. It's so strong. Like she won with 2 Rose Tower. People are like, just play 4 Paths at Beacon. You beat Mew. And she was like, you know what? Nah, we good. We're just gonna play the 2 and beat him. So that's really fantastic. I mean, Mew is definitely like the best deck going to Salt Lake City. It is the best deck. Like if you don't know what to play, you're like, Josh, what should I play? Just play Mew. The mirror's probably not that fun, right? But just practice the mirror and then you're good. Like you played the most consistent deck, right? So if you don't like my number 1 choice, play Mew 100%. I would definitely probably play it. Like I don't know. It depends on the night before how I'm doing my number 1 deck. But my number 1 deck right now is actually Dark Urshifu. I just love this deck so much. For a long time, like I said, if Arceus wasn't a thing, then I would definitely be playing Weezing. But Weezing can't beat Arceus now. That's my struggle. If you can get Weezing beat Arceus, Props to you. Love it. Love it. But this is my number one deck. I love Darkrai Urshifu VMAX. Like, Darkrai. Oh my goodness. I said Darkrai. I meant Dark Urshifu VMAX. I think JW got me on it like from a long time ago. And now we're here. We're playing this deck. Now, you're going to notice there's no more Pissimians. There's no more Scopes or anything. Because now with Choice Belt, you are now Gale Thrusting for 180 damage. Yes, you heard that right. 30 plus 120 is 150. Plus the Choice Belt is 180, which is pretty insane. So now you're just like two-shotting, like VMAXs if you need to. Like Moltres, I said Articuno. Moltres is like doing Aura Burn for 220. You're knocking out like a lot of stuff in the format. You're now playing three You're now playing three Dark. You're playing three Moltres to help you win the Mew matchup. You're playing a 3-3 Urshifu. And this is what I was talking about earlier. Like, you can put down a Dunsparce against, this deck if you're Arceus, and you're like, I don't care. I'll just G-Max Rapid Flow, knock out the Dunsparce, knock out a Sobble or Drizzile, take 2 prize cards. Arcee goes, hey, 200. You go, cool. G-Max Rapid Flow, like 240 only active. With the ban, you're now doing 300. So, like, what's up, and also Gale Thrust, you're going to do 360 to them, which is fantastic. The only thing I might consider is adding more Switch and more Escape Rope. We're still work in progress on that. And now with Articuno, like, do you play the Articuno still? I still like the one of Articuno. Reconstitute is still a good thing just to draw if you're in a bad situation. Like, okay, I have Rotom Phone. I don't have a way to draw, but I do have Articuno, so you can, like, Rotom Phone into the Articuno and, like, draw the one and, like, hit the card you need, because you discard 2, draw a card on top of your deck. I think that ability is too good not to play. And then one Luminion for the Luminion sign. Just search for your supporter card. This is really, really good because you got to find the Raihan. Like, if somebody takes a knockout and you go to Luminion, you can Luminion into, like, Dark Energy onto Urshifu, Single Strike Energy onto Urshifu V or VMAX, and you're good to go. And one cool thing you can do now with this deck is, like, you can 100 Furies blows for 180 turn 1 now because of the Choice Belt, because you're playing 3 Energy Switch, you're playing the 3 Moltres. Like, this deck is ready to go. You are going to take down the biggest 2 decks in the competition, but I do think, hear me out, I do think you are going to struggle against, like, those single price decks. If those are a thing, like, you play against Malamar, it is going to be rough. But if Jolteon sees an appearance, who cares, right? Because, like, Jolteon, you're like, what? Where does Jolteon weak to? Oh, let's take a look real quick. Jolteon VMAX is weak to, fighting. That's pretty cool. For example, let's take up Gengar VMAX. Oh, wait, you're weak to fighting too? Okay, I knock you out in one hit. So that's pretty cool. And then also, since you play Choice Belt, you now can knock out a Gengar with 100 Fierce Blows, do 360, and you knock out a Gengar VMAX, you're good to go. And then, like, if they decide to use Gengar V, yeah, Pain Explosion, 190, woo! But then they put, like, damage counters on you, and then Moltres can, like, come up and Aura Burn for a knockout. So I think this deck is in a really good spot. I'm trying to think of what other decks you, like, will play against. Like, if you look on the ladder right now, Mew Genesect, you play 3 Moltres, let's go. And that Crobat. You play 3 Moltres, let's go. Gengar. You play Urshifu, let's go. Arceus Duraludon might be a little bit tough, but you do, have this weird war where, because, like, what's Duraludon do? What's he hitting? He's hitting some numbers, right? Duraludon's doing this thing, right? Duraludon is, 220. So it's one shot in your Moltres, but if you can, like, if you can Urshifu onto, knock out RCS, right? And then, like, Moltres comes out and takes, like, 2 swings to knock it out. They want to have the other Duraludon powered up. I don't know. It's probably a bad matchup. Malamar is probably bad. Calyrex, I think you can have that matchup because, like, you can, like, do the V or something. Eternatus, weak to fighting, right? Arceus Atelion, you're going to beat that. Durant might be a little bit scary. Darkbox and Teleon might be a little bit scary. But if you look at the top 2 decks, like, you're going to beat them. Anything Arceus, you're going to beat. Except Duraludon. I think Duraludon's the only one that you're going to lose to. But How big is Duraludon going to be? That's a question you have to ask yourself. But I still think this is probably my number one play. Like, you just beat the RCS decks pretty well. You beat Mew pretty well. Even against the single price decks, you still have like Gmax Rapid Flow, so you can take multiple knockouts. Problem is they play like Bandify now and blah 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 and all that stuff, so that's not fun. But yeah, I think this is like the most underrated deck right now in the standard format. And I definitely would be playing it. I'm trying to see something real quick. So Urshifu Moltres. There's only been a handful Urshifu Moltres that have been played on tournaments. And like one got second place. Oh, I played Bibarel though. Ooh, Bibarel Rapid Strike Moltres. It did play a 3-3 3-3 Urshifu, 3 Moltres, one Articuno still. There we go. Outside of that, there's not any good placements. They all did not very good. So, but a lot of them went like 0-2 drop, which makes it look not so good. So, I don't know. It'd be interesting. These all play Bibarel. What's going on? Why are we playing Bibarel in the deck? This plays RCS, so it's like an RCS build. I don't know why you play RCS. You already you're a single energy deck. There's another one, Bibarel. I wouldn't play that one. Another with Inteleon. Yo, that's a lot of Pokemon. They play 20 Pokemon in this list. There's an Octillery build. Okay, sure. Another Octillery build. So we don't play any of this stuff. We don't play any of these cards. We only play draw cards. Octillery build. Okay. This one is... So the closest one I see... Let's see. Let's see what other one. There's one more. This is RC. So there's only one that is like somewhat built like this, but it played the Simeon, played Dark Energies. It didn't play Rotom Phone, which I think is like the best card in the deck. So it did play 4 Energy Switch. What did it lose to though? It lost to Umbreon Urshifu, and it lost to Duraludon, and then it dropped. So hit one okay matchup into an auto loss, like just straight Duraludon. So I understand that. So that's the only one that's ever been played that looks somewhat close to this. But yeah, try the deck out. We're gonna play it for Friday, show it off, and try to convince people to play it and see what happens. But yeah, guys, those are my top 4 decks. It's this, and if you don't feel comfortable with this, play Mew. Then Entei, like we got 2 spicy decks and then like 2 generic decks. So that's just how I am right now. I'm still loving this deck, and yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Good luck this weekend. Keep testing. These are just my thoughts of my top 4 decks. Hopefully you learned something new. Who knows? Man, I love this deck a lot. It just looks so much fun. Alrighty, guys. Bye.